Hey everybody, here for Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 8, episode... I'm terrible, I never know what the episode is. I don't be paying attention, so you say hi? Episode 15. Okay, first of all, I'm doing this entire review laying down because I have had a rough weekend. For starters, my daughter... Well, you see she's good now. My daughter, she caught like a stomach bug, on, what was it, Friday? Oh my God, look at this on my eye. She caught like a stomach bug on Friday, so I had to call out of work and stay home. No, get from over there. So I had to call out of work and stay home. And then, I think my son caught it. And then yesterday, leave it. Come here. Come here. Come here. And then yesterday, my son caught it because he said that he threw up a couple of times. And then next thing I know, I got cramps all in my stomach. And I was just done for the night. Like, I was messed up. I was in the bathroom all night to this morning. That's how I was in agony all day. So I've been laying down. I had soup and I had ginger ale. So, yeah, this review is going to be done with me laying down. So, I hope y'all don't mind. But, yeah, let's get into the episode. Continues where I left off. It came on last week? Yeah, last week. You know, Sheree basically let it be known that how, you know, the girls were talking about, Chris and... You know, she's basically like everything that they saying about him now, they wasn't saying at the table yesterday. So, you know, everybody is like, listen, I never really heard these rumors or whatever. Have you heard them? Well, Kenya asked, and you know, Kim is like, you know, keeping her calm, but in her confessional, she like, don't make me have to cut these chicks with my mouth. So she's like, Jeez, what did she say? She was just like, I've never heard those rumors. We've been together 10 years, happily married, happily in love, and, you know, that's it. I don't know where people get this, you know, rumor stuff from and this misconception. First of all, I've never heard, as long as Kim has been married, I've never heard about her husband being fruity. I've never heard any gay rumors about him. I've never heard anything like that. So I feel like that's something that Kenya just made up just to be an asshole because she's always talking about somebody's man. So, you know, Kim got up and she left because she was upset or whatever. But, you know, I feel her pain. And I'm like, you know, I'm with Sheree. Y'all were talking all of this mess about Kim's husband, calling him sassy, calling him delicate, making fun of him being a tap dancer and all this other stuff. And it's like, why can't men do that and still be straight? Like, that's where the disrespect comes in. And I remember reading this thing that her friend Brandon wrote saying, you know, men are always, you know, women who are friends with gay men are always trying to out other men when half the time they're not even gay. And then on top of that, like, you make it seem like being gay is the worst thing in the world. You know, you can't sit up here and say, hey, your best friend is gay, but then turn around and talk about, oh, this person is gay. They call him, you know, they call them Tootie and Fruity, and they call him Chrissy in the industry and all this other craziness. And I was like, you know what, Brandon? I don't like you, but you said a mouthful. And I don't like Brandon because Brandon is too extra. Like, he makes Brandon is like Don Juan. Brandon makes situations worse than what they are. But I honestly 100% agree with everything he was saying in his blog, and I feel like he was calling Kenya out on her BS, and that's what people need to do. So what else happened? I'm not gonna go in order. I'm gonna just go to, like, you know, what was important to me to watch, because I don't even remember. And I just finished watching the episode, but I was in and out watching it, so I don't even really remember everything that went on. So they went to Dunn River Falls or whatever, and that was the opportunity for them to bond and all of that. No, wait a minute, let me go back a ways. I'm going a little bit too forward. So Kim, Nene, and Phaedra meet up, and Phaedra is basically telling Kim, hey, in order to get rid of a snake, you have to cut their heads off, kill them dead, because if you cut off their tail, they're gonna reattach itself, and XYZ. So her and Nene were doing like some role play, basically saying what Kim should say when Kenya comes for her. And Phaedra was Kenya and Nene was Kim. And Phaedra was like, but check my credits, honey. I have 2 Hollywood movies, that went straight to Blockbuster. And Nene was like she was just saying what Kim should have said. And I mean, the whole entire dialogue between Nene and Phaedra was so dead on and so hilarious. It was so funny. But I'm like, yeah, I mean, I understand Kim is a very positive person and she doesn't like drama. But sometimes you gotta show people that hood side of you. Like, you could be professional, you could be sweet, but sometimes you got to bring that hood chick out of you, because people will keep trying you until you do. And that's what Kenya is doing. Notice that everybody that Kenya done had beef with, put her in her place real quick. Portia, Phaedra, Nene, who else? Mallory, Sheree. All these people that she had beef with, put her in her place real quick. And now she know not to mess with them. But because Kim is sweet and Kim is, nice and doesn't want any drama, she feels like she could keep poking at Kim, and she gonna keep poking, and Kim is gonna bust her upside her head, and I will be so here for it, because it'll be well deserved and long overdue for Kenya, like really. All right, I managed to sit up without it hurting, so because I mean my arm started to hurt when I was sitting down doing the review, but yeah, let me cut this toy off. Yeah, so what else happened? Now they go to Dunn River Falls or whatever, and it's like a couple's thing where they're all together and they're hanging out, and each of them are walking up the falls or whatever. They get their water shoes or whatever, and Dunn River Falls is like, I guess, like this big waterfall area where people go to climb the rocks or whatever. It's like a nice sightseeing place or whatever. And, even Peter said that if you go to Jamaica, you cannot go to Jamaica without going to Dunn River Falls. So, they all go and they're having a good time. But naturally, here goes Kenya. She's isolating herself just like she did in the commercial by, pedal boating by herself with her and Matt. So she makes it up the falls first. And then she teased everybody to myself. Oh, everybody's a fitness expert, but they're lagging behind, and it takes me no time to get up there. And Bondi Blue and all these other people were saying fitness has nothing to do with climbing Dunn River Falls. It's just that the rocks are slippery, so you have to take your time. And I'm like, well, there you have it. And I'm like, and then even Sheree tweeted some shade when Kenya said that, talking about some girl please. And I'm like, right, because we all know Sheree is the fitness expert. You see Sheree's body, okay? So and I'm like, people will buy a fitness DVD from Sheree quicker than they'll buy it from you. All right, anyway. But so they get up to the top or whatever. Kenya's like, oh, what took you so long? Everybody's like, she's a show off and blah blah blah. So what else happened? I think before Kim went to Dunn River Falls, she was speaking to her husband, telling him about what they said. And her husband was like, really? Seriously? Now, I didn't really hear the conversation, but I did hear her throw a Bible verse in there. I was like, okay, Kim. I mean, hey, believe what you believe. So, but I like Chris, because every time Kim feels like, Kim feels, when Kim doesn't feel right in her spirit or she doesn't feel good about anything, Chris is always there to give her advice and tell her, hey, listen, don't worry about it. Let people talk. Let them, they're going to do what they're going to do. Let your haters be your motivators. Like, he's always good with advice like that. So, what else happened? Peter took them to this jerk chicken place. Oh my gosh. And I was like, oh man, Jerk chicken. I mean, jerk chicken is spicy as all get out, but it is so good, especially when people know how to cook it just right. So, but he was saying that how they cook it on sweet wood. So a lot of the flavor comes from the wood that they cook it on. I'm like, oh, that is different. You know, kind of reminds me of like Cold Stone. You know, for a while I didn't know Cold Stone was actually a Cold Stone they made the ice cream on. Don't judge me, okay? But but I mean, they don't get the flavor from it, but you know, like it does its job by, you know, keeping the ice cream cold. You know, that's what the sweet wood reminds me of. But I mean, you know, that's cool. And I see like Jamaicans, because my fiance, he's Jamaican and Antiguan, and they know how to season their food. Like, they know how to season their food. When I first got with my fiance, I remember all he used to cook with was curry. I was curried out. I was like, geez, can we try something else? So he's laid off the curry since, like, you know, for a while he's laid off the curry. You know what? I think he really stopped. Like, he started to ease up on the curry when I got pregnant with my son. Because when I was pregnant with my son, I couldn't take the smell, the taste, anything of curry. I could not deal. So he kind of, like, you know, let up off of the curry then. But anyway. But yeah, just like, you know, seeing how they cook the food and how, like, you know, all of that just sounded good. And I'm like, geez, I want to go to Jamaica so bad because I know they could cook. So, you know, they're sitting there and they're discussing, what are they discussing? And I hope I'm right with the dialogue or whatever. I think this is when they were all sitting there, discussing, yeah, this is when I think the ladies were sitting on one side, the men were sitting on the other. So they were basically trying to clear the air between Kenya and Kim and trying to figure out, like, you know, Nene was the one that was like, listen, let's just clear the air. Let's just talk about this and see what the problem is, because clearly there's a problem. So Kim is like, well, you know, I don't have a problem with you, but it seems like you have a problem with me. Like, you know, we can either be, you know, we can either be cordial, or we cannot coexist at all. Like, you know, we could just leave it at that. So, you know, here come Kenya already starting the conversation off being a mean girl, talking about something. Well, I'm happy you can speak for yourself. Cynthia stopped it right there and was like, listen, this is where y'all go wrong. She wasn't trying to be shady. She's just letting you know, like, you know, boundaries. And already you about to get slick out your mouth with her. And I'm like, right, like, all she's saying, and it's like, when has there never been a time that Kim doesn't speak up for herself? She just doesn't have time for you and your foolery. Kim always speaks up for herself. Always. Every time you say something to her, she says something right back at you. So Kenya, stop. So, you know, Kenya is basically saying the same thing. Like, yeah, we could be cordial, but we're not gonna be besties. We're not gonna, you know. So they basically left it there. So, what else happened? Oh my God, I feel like I just forgot everything that happened on this show. I'm just trying to make sure I get everything. Oh, so Candy and Todd. Okay, first of all, I understand that they're still trying to keep Candy and Todd, you know, relevant while they are away in Jamaica. But it's like, who really cares? But I love Candy and Todd. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just like, who really cares at this point? But they're still talking about this restaurant business, and you know, it's Candy, Todd, and the old lady gang. Mama Joyce, Aunt Nora, and Aunt Bertha. So they're there trying samples of food because they still want to start up this family restaurant. And it's like everything they were trying, like salmon and deviled eggs and everything that they were trying, Aunt Bertha was like, no, don't like this. This is nasty. But as soon as they got to the ribs, they had an option of like pork or beef. You know, Aunt Bertha's like, oh, these ribs is off the chain. I'm like, she's so southern. So, but you know, Aunt Bertha always got that stank look on her face. Like, she just does not like anything. Like, that's the look that that Mama Joyce used to have. But she grew out of that real quick. Aunt Bertha never, she's always with the stank face. Like, she's like a hard person to please. So, I guess they went to like their final dinner, in Jamaica. And they just put all the cards on the table or whatever. Or no, am I wrong? I think I'm wrong. I think they went, they went dancing to some thing down there. They were dancing. And, you know, Phaedra and Portia are twerking. Oh my God. Andy Cohen, if you are watching this, which I highly doubt you are, but I'll probably tweet it too. Please give Phaedra and Portia their own version of Watch What Happens Live or something like that. Some type of show or something, because those two are friggin' hilarious. So Phaedra and Portia are like, they're twerking and dancing and enjoying themselves or whatever. And, you know, Phaedra is like, well, I really didn't know how I would feel coming on a couple's trip by myself, but I feel like, you know, I'm doing pretty well. And I'm like, you know what, Phaedra, you're having fun. You know, despite the fact that you are by yourself, you're having fun, you're enjoying yourself. And Portia is being a really good friend by including you. And, you know, even though Oliver is there, she's not just, you know, dropping Phaedra off to the side like, you know, my man is here, bye. No, she's actually including Phaedra in the activities and still making sure that Phaedra is fine and Phaedra's having fun. So that's what I really love about their friendship. But yeah, they're at their last dinner in Jamaica. Kenya comes down or whatever, and they basically hash it out. And, you know, Cynthia basically said, you know, she was asking Kim, oh, when will I be able to see the finishing touches of the commercial? And Kim is like, well, I still have to assemble ideas, but you know, it should be finished and everything before the week is out. Every time they bring up the commercial, the camera goes to Kenya, and Kenya always has this stank sourpuss look on her face like. And I'm like, you can't be mad at nobody but yourself. So, you know, Cynthia was like, well, the only thing that was missing from this, from the commercial was Kenya. And I just felt like you weren't there for me. You were unsupportive, whatever, whatever. So naturally, Kenya's like, well, from the beginning, I was disrespected because I had a lot of ideas and I feel like you didn't give me the chance to show them to you. And I'm like, are you serious? Did Cynthia or did not, did she or didn't she, Cynthia, call you to come to a meeting with her and Kim, and you told her you couldn't come because you were fixing issues in your house, when really you were hanging around Matt, doing nothing but talking? So I'm like, she didn't give you a chance? Every time she's called you to meet with you, you make up some excuse as to why you can't come. Kim was there, Kim was prepared, and Kim's idea was nice. So you can't get mad. The early bird gets the worm. First come, first serve. You move your feet, lose your seat. What's another saying? Like, I'm just, like, Kenya is just always trying to make herself the victim. And it's so annoying at this point. Like, you've been making yourself the victim since season 5. This is now season 8, and you still haven't grown up. You still haven't grown up. And I'm like, you know, you feeling a kind of way because you feel like Cynthia didn't include you in anything on the commercial. And, I mean, you could have had a conversation with Cynthia a long time ago and been like, hey, you know, I really feel like I should have been a part of the commercial, but if I'm not, it's okay. You know, we'll still be friends. I still support you. No, you were being salty and in your feelings the whole entire time, and then you took that anger out on Kim when Kim had nothing to do with it. And, you know, and she was even saying to herself, you know, I was in my feelings, and, you know, I only did that to Kim because I was in my feelings. And I'm like, okay, but what if that situation with you pulling Kim's chair from up under her would have been a lot more serious than normal? What if you would have pulled out her chair and she would have fell? What if you would have actually yanked the chair from up under her and she would have hit her head on the chair going down? Like, you know, it's a number of things that could have happened with her pulling Kim's chair out. And it's like, you know, she apologized for it, but I don't feel like the apology was sincere. I feel like it was full of crap, and I feel like it was just to pacify the situation. And Kenya just annoys me. Like, she just annoys me. I take a lot of things that she says and does with a grain of salt. And like I said, I try to feel sorry for Kenya, but she makes it hard for a person to feel sorry for her. But it's whatever. So, you know, they were saying Peter basically blew up that Matt said that he loved Kenya when they were at dinner together. And, you know, Matt was like, well, I do love her. You know, Peter's like, well, how long you been around her? You don't know her like that, son. So, you know, also Bob and Sheree cute together. And Bob basically knows that he did Sheree wrong, so he's trying to make it better. And Sheree is like, you know, everything that Bob is saying is good, but you know, I have to see his actions. I'm like, well, I hope Bob works hard to fix everything between him and Sheree, because they are hella cute together now. Before, I was like, Bob he's obnoxious. But now, you know, I see he actually wants to, you know, it kind of reminds me of Nene and Greg when they divorced and they got back together. But that was basically the episode. Nothing more, nothing less. It's their last night in Jamaica, and then also Kenya's gonna try and blame the fact that Nene's back on the reason why everything went the way it went in Jamaica. And Nene's like, that has nothing to do with me. Your friendship with Cynthia and my friendship with Cynthia is two different things. Don't try and blame me. I'm like, exactly. She always pointing the blame and playing the victim. Who cares? But yeah, that was the episode. Like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend, and I see you guys in the next video, which I think will be I'm gonna try and do like a little short Big Ange tribute or whatever, because I got a lot to say about that, but I'll say it in the next video. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.